From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
This is a WUFT News Update. I'm Macie Goldfarb.
And I'm Alexus Cleavenger. Thank you for joining us. The Gainesville City Commission fires GRU General Manager Ed Bilarski, who says in turn he'll run for mayor. GRU recently failed to make the final cut to develop the next power plant on the UF campus. The decision to terminate Bilarski's contract was made in a 4-2 vote. He was hired in 2015, but also came close to being fired last year. He told a reporter the decision is misguided and against the will of the people, leading him to possibly run for mayor in August.
It's been a little cold this week for Florida, but there is really cold weather on the way.
Zoey Robinson joins us now with an update on the approaching cold weather. Zoey?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Today was a cloudy and chilly day, and that's actually because we had a dry cold front pass through the past couple of hours, leaving behind these cloudy skies. Should begin to clear out as we head into the overnight, but for right now, temperatures sitting in the mid to upper 50s across our area. A little cooler near Lake City, but Ocala and the Villages not even cracking into the 60s just yet. As we head past sundown, temperatures will continue to drop. Like I mentioned, there's that cold front to the south. Temperatures sitting in the low 40s for dinner time, and then beginning to really get chilly as we head into the morning, sitting in about the low 30s. We have expected really high wind gusts tonight because of some strong northwesterly winds, and that's going to make it feel much colder than it actually is, maxing out about 20 to 30 miles an hour, making it feel, like I mentioned, much colder than it could be. Through midnight, feeling only about 37 degrees here in Gainesville, but then take a look as we head through the morning. Feels like temperatures really plummeting from those wind chills. Perry, if you're up at about 7 a.m., feeling closer to about 15, 16 degrees, so very cold in my book. I'd be sure to bundle up if you're headed out early, and then even throughout the rest of the day, probably still need those layers. Plenty of sunshine, but those winds really making it feel colder than it actually is as we head throughout the rest of the day. This weekend, though, record cold mornings could be possible. Sunday morning, take a look. Temperatures sitting in the low 20s for our area. Orlando as well could see some shattered records, so we'll keep an eye out and keep you posted if any records do get broken from this really cold weather event. That's also prompting several freeze warnings for our counties in North Florida, Alachua, Columbia. There's also frost advisories along the First Coast and in Central Florida. So as well, there's a wind advisory, gusts upward to 40 miles an hour. If you're in our panhandle counties, notice probably not the best day to go boating. Unfortunately, aside from the cold temperatures, the winds will be ripping. So please be cautious if you are headed out over this weekend. Cold temperatures expected through Sunday, and then we'll be slightly warming up as we head throughout the rest of the week. Now back to Macie.
Thanks, Zoey. The Union County School District is celebrating after scoring the most improvement in high school graduation rates in North Central Florida. Union County reached an 88.3% in graduation rate, including traditional and non-traditional avenues for the year 2020-2021. That was an increase of 8.7% compared to the previous year. Non-traditional avenues include GED programs and online schooling, since Union County only has one high school. The superintendent credits their success to close relationships that teachers and staffers nurture with students.
They have a plan, and she can speak to that a little bit more, but they have a plan in which they meet with each student multiple times throughout the course of the year, checking on their academic progress, looking at their test scores, also looking at their career interest and where they want to go.
By comparison, 88% puts Union County just behind Alachua County, where the graduation rate is running right at 90%. Only a very few districts like Columbia and St. John's have reached the mid-90s.
The Coast Guard has suspended rescue efforts to find survivors after a boat capsized off the Florida coast. 5 bodies were recovered, and there's little hope for the 34 still missing. The Coast Guard believes this was a human smuggling operation, and the overloaded boat capsized when hitting bad weather. The collapse of a snow-covered bridge in Pittsburgh left at least 10 injured, and just hours before, President Biden made a nearby appearance. A bus and 5 other vehicles were on the bridge when it collapsed. The accident also broke a major gas pipeline, but that leak was quickly brought under control. President Biden was visiting nearby to talk about improving supply chains and the infrastructure bill.
Yesterday, Russia said what the U.S. put in writing did not help at all on the main issue of NATO expansion eastward. While the diplomatic push is still ongoing, Ukrainian troops are preparing for a possible Russian invasion. NBC's Richard Engel is near the front lines in eastern Ukraine.
The trenches here in eastern Ukraine are quite narrow in places, but they extend for miles, and the conditions are Spartan. It's very cold. The troops here have to chop wood by hand, which they burn for heat, but they are now manning these positions 24/7, watching for a potential Russian invasion.
Deep in eastern Ukraine this morning, Ukrainian troops are bracing for the worst. The soldiers say they're ready for anything, as the prospect of a Russian invasion appears to be increasing. We're in good spirits. No morale issues, no panic, says the commander, Valentin. Russia and Ukrainian separatists backed by Moscow have already been fighting here for 8 years, leaving villages largely empty, destroyed, and lifeless.
Ukrainians call these ghost villages, and the only sounds you hear are all the stray dogs that have moved in.
But they fear what could be coming may be far worse. Russia's military buildup is accelerating, disguised, U.S. officials say, by military exercises in the Black Sea, these firing drills in the Baltic Sea, and along 3 sides of the Ukrainian border, including these forces in new satellite images. A Western intelligence official tells NBC News Russia has deployed up to 120,000 troops in 60 battalion tactical groups, with more, maybe many more, on the way. The buildup possibly reaching 100 battalion groups in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Enough, they estimate, for a total invasion of Ukraine. Russia has also brought in missile launchers and mobilized medical and logistics units needed to support an invasion. Russia repeatedly saying it has no plans to invade, suggesting the troop buildup is in response to what the foreign minister called hysterical threats from the West to punish Russia with sanctions. Diplomatically, the U.S. formally gave Russia written answers as requested, which fell far short of Vladimir Putin's sweeping demand that NATO expansion since the collapse of the Soviet Union be undone, and that Ukraine never be allowed to join the group.
Ukrainian government officials say they are still hoping for a diplomatic solution, but the troops here in the trenches are doing what they can to defend themselves, including with American weapons that have been coming in.
That was NBC's Richard Engel reporting from eastern Ukraine. You can get much more on that topic on tonight's PBS NewsHour at 7 p.m. on WUFT. We turn now to our local sports report with Harrison Smajovits.
Thanks, Macie. Gator Gymnastics looks to stay undefeated when they face Arkansas tonight. Tonight's match is also the 16th annual Link to Pink. Florida will don pink rather than their usual orange and blue to raise awareness for breast cancer prevention. Head coach Jenny Rowland says the event is getting some extra flair this year.
Every single seat in the arena is going to have a pink t-shirt, first time ever. The whole lower bowl area will have a shaker, so we're really amping it up for those fighters, for those survivors.
The Gators sit at 5-0 on the season and are coming off a road win against Georgia. Arkansas is participating in its first meet in almost 2 weeks. They're 1-1 on the year. Gator baseball is hosting its first spring practice today. Florida scheduled an open practice followed by a scrimmage. The Gators enter the 2022 season looking to redeem a rather disappointing 2021, where they were knocked out during regional play. Head coach Kevin O'Sullivan says the team is going to use last year as a learning experience.
You do differently and you learn from each year, whether it be successful when you end up in Omaha or win a national championship. You're always looking to get better, and certainly last year was no different than any other year.
Opening night for the Gators is exactly 3 weeks away. They will face Liberty. Gator men's basketball is back home and hosting Oklahoma State tomorrow. The two teams face off as part of the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Florida will try to bounce back from its tough SEC road trip. In both games this week, the Gators were in it for the first half, but completely fell flat in the second half. The last time these schools clashed was in the Orange Bowl Classic back in December of 2015, when Florida narrowly took home the win 72-70. Gator women's basketball hosts the #1 South Carolina Gamecocks on Sunday. Florida is on a 5-game winning streak after beating LSU 73-72. South Carolina is coming in on a 7-game winning streak and has an overall record of 19-1. That will do it for sports.
Thanks, Harrison. For a quick look at celebrity news on this Friday, here's Ariana Psarakos.
Welcome to Entertainment News. I am Ariana Psarakos, and today I'm going to fill you in on celebrity life and all the drama that comes with it.
Chris Brown has found himself yet again in another controversy. This time, a woman that does not want to be identified is accusing the R&B singer of rape. In the lawsuit attained by TMZ, Jane Doe claims that the singer spiked her drink after luring her via FaceTime in P. Diddy's home in Miami. The woman felt disoriented, physically unstable, and started to fall in and out of sleep. She then proceeds to say that Brown guided her into a bedroom where he raped her, despite her asking him to stop. The lawsuit stands at $20 million for severe emotional distress. Speaking of repeated controversies, Tristan Thompson has been caught cheating once again. Thompson is no stranger to cheating scandals, but this time the accusation is coming from Tricia Caracosa. Caracosa posted a TikTok showing the basketball player getting comfortable with an unidentified woman in the club. This is not the first time the star has been caught red-handed in a public setting. Khloe Kardashian was quick to respond to the video by posting a series of pictures on her Instagram account, captioned, "Betrayal rarely comes from your enemies." It seems like Tristan's most recent offense didn't bring Khloe down for long. Kim and her new boyfriend Pete Davidson were seen hanging out with her on Wednesday night. The trio started their night off with dinner at Quarters Korean barbecue restaurant in Los Angeles, then followed up with some fun at 60 Out Escape Room. This is one of the first times we have seen Davison on the West Coast, leaving us to assume that the Kardashian family has fully accepted his relationship with Kim.
I am Ariana Psarakos, and that wraps up today's dose of entertainment news.
Finally, tonight, a red polka dot dress has been a Minnie Mouse signature look for decades. Now, a change of wardrobe is turning heads and causing mixed reactions. Minnie Mouse will showcase a new look, a modern pantsuit, for the 30th anniversary of Disneyland Paris. The outfit was designed by Stella McCartney and keeps polka dots but blue and black ones with a matching bow. Minnie's heels have also been replaced with black shoes. Though the reaction has varied, McCartney says it's meant to be a sign of progress for a new generation. You go, girl. Thanks for keeping up with WUFT News on Facebook. I'm Macie Goldfarb.
And I'm Alexus Cleavenger. That's our time for now, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.